Everyone starts at zero. You don't have to be an expert. Part of establishing your personal brand is the journey, is sharing that journey and learning along the way. You don't have to be an expert, but you do have to be a continuous learner and an urgent learner and make progress week by week and year by year.
You're listening to the Fitness Business Podcast. We'd like to thank this month's premier sponsor, Team Rockstar Fit, the mastermind team that helps fitness professionals and studios add nutrition, fitness, and online coaching to their existing business with tools from Beachbody. Visit teamrockstarfit.com. Welcome everybody to this week's show. Our special guest this week is author Mark Schaefer. Mark recently released a book called Known, the handbook for building and unleashing your personal brand in the digital age. During the interview, Mark shares his 4-step path to becoming known. We talk about considerations for building your personal brand and the importance of finding a unique point of difference. Also coming up this week is our next edition of In the Trenches, where we chat to owners, managers, and staff from across the globe who are doing seriously cool stuff in their businesses. Our guest today is Louise May from Body Care Health Club, who comes on to tell us about their 14-day Facebook video promotion. One last thing, in just a few days' time on August the 4th, I am incredibly proud to tell you that we have an industry first happening for our FBP family. As you know, it's my goal to bring you guys the best information and the best experts from around the world to help you grow and be successful and profitable in the fitness industry. So this new series will deliver exactly that. So make sure you listen out after the main interview to hear all about the FBP Intensive Series. Before we transition into this week's main guest, I first want to thank our newest podcast partner, Team Rockstar Fit, for their support. If you want to lead a happy and balanced life with your career in fitness, then Team Rockstar Fit offers mentoring and support to expand your business online with tools from Beachbody. You can earn money out of the trenches. Visit teamrockstarfit.com. Mark W. Schaefer is a globally recognized keynote speaker, educator, business consultant, and author who blogs at businessesgrow.com, one of the top marketing blogs of the world. Mark has worked in global sales, PR, and marketing positions for 30 years and now provides consulting services as the executive director of US-based Schaefer Marketing Solutions. He specializes in marketing strategy and social media workshops, and his clients include both startups and global brands such as Adidas, Johnson & Johnson, Dell, Pfizer, the US Air Force, and the UK government. As mentioned in the introduction, his latest book is called Known, the handbook for building and unleashing your personal brand in the digital age. Let's now dive straight into this week's interview with Mark Schaefer. Mark, we like to start each of our shows chatting about tips for staying focused. So can you start us off by sharing any apps, systems, or rituals that you would recommend?
Well, I have a very powerful ritual in my life, and that is every opportunity, everything I'm being asked to do, I put it through a filter. And the filter is this. There are 3 major pieces of my work that bring in the revenue. It's my graduate college classes that I teach, it's the consulting I do with clients, and it's the content I create in the form of blogs, podcasts, videos, speeches that really make people aware of me and bring in the clients. And if it's not a request or a piece of work that falls into one of those 3 buckets, I don't do it. I either don't do it or I get help. I outsource it in some way. And that is really the only way I can survive. And it's hard sometimes because I don't want to disappoint people and I don't want to say no. But if I use that filter, it helps me stay focused and it helps me stay productive.
That's a great way of really staying on track and staying focused, because it's so easy to get distracted by different tasks that are coming into our day, isn't it?
Oh, it really is. And, you know, I've been so fortunate, Chantal, that I do get a lot of requests. I do get a lot of opportunities. And if I said yes to all of them, it would really take my focus away from what's bringing in money to the business.
Well, thank you for sharing that ritual with us. Now, I wanted to get you on and say a huge congratulations on the launch of your new book, Known.
Thank you. It's been so rewarding. This is my 6th book, and everyone has loved my books, and I get nice comments saying, "Oh, this has helped my business." But this book has been different. I know you listened to the book on Audible, and the first review on Audible, the headline is, "This is the most inspiring book I've ever heard." Now that hit me in a big way. And I'm getting so many comments that this is a book that's really changing people's lives, and that's so rewarding.
Mark, when you did the research for your book, I believe you interviewed almost 100 people, including Joe Wicks, who we mentioned in last week's show. Tell us, what did you discover from those interviews?
Well, it was so inspiring, and I learned so much. And when I write a book, I have kind of a thesis, but I let the research write the book. And I would have loved to have written the book, How to Have a Powerful Personal Brand in 100 Days. But I couldn't do it. It wasn't there. And I'm sure even from your experience, it takes time. It takes patience. It takes persistence. But everybody followed the same 4 steps. So maybe for your listeners, I'll go through them very briefly. The first step is to be really clear about what you want to be known for. And that's not necessarily your passion. Sometimes I ask people, if you're on a stage 2 years from now, imagine yourself. The audience wants to hear what you have to say. They're so excited, and you're excited to give them your message. What is that message? What do they want to hear? Maybe that's what you need to be working on over the next 2 years. Now, it's a very busy world. And now that you have your story, you have to figure out, where is that story going to reside? How am I going to tell it? And you have to do a little thinking about, what's the space on the web that you want to own? The third step is the content that we produce. And this is where a lot of people get overwhelmed. Should I be on Facebook? Should I be on Twitter? Should I blog? And the position I take in my book is, really, it's not overwhelming at all. In fact, you generally have 3 choices, maybe 4 at the most. You need to write something. You need to record something like a podcast. And this is really how you became known. Or you need to do a video series. And possibly another option might be photography, like on Instagram. But for most people, it's written, it's audio, or it's video. So pick one. What do you love to do? The 4th step is to build an actionable audience. And this is a key idea because, Chantal, if we followed each other on social media, that doesn't necessarily mean that I would do something for you or you would do something for me. We need to build a stronger bond. We need to build this emotional connection somehow. Now, you got interested enough in me to check out my book, read a little bit of my book. And you started to build this emotional connection to me. You became interested. You knew what I stood for and how I was thinking, and you invited me on your show. Now we're collaborating together. We're creating content together. Who knows where this will lead? Maybe we'll meet at an industry conference someday. And now we're becoming actionable for each other. And so I spent a lot of time in my book talking about how to do that. So a social media audience, when people follow you on LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook, it's like they're waving at you, but that doesn't mean they're going to connect with you in a way where they'll actually take an action or pull out a wallet to buy something from you.
Mark, in the fitness industry globally, a lot of our fitness professionals, our personal trainers, our gym owners have this social media presence that we talk about. So they might have a great Instagram following, or they might have a really good group that they've got on Facebook. I think one of the challenges that we face is that to take it from that level and having that base community that we have on those social media channels to then take it to that next level and follow those steps that you're talking about can seem really overwhelming. It can seem quite daunting. And the advice that you just shared in regards to, you know, either writing or doing a video or doing a podcast is fantastic advice. If we break that right down into simple steps, let's take, for example, someone who's got a great Instagram following and wants to take it to the next level. What would you instruct them to be those very first, say, 3 steps for them to take, the practical steps?
There are 3 things that I think can get them to the next level if they've already started to create some sort of content. The first one would be to have the courage to really be human. Don't just be scripted, but show yourself. Show behind the scenes what's going on. Add a human element. People don't fall in love with logos or buildings or health clubs. They fall in love with people. So have the courage to show yourself. The second recommendation would be persistence. Each person that I interviewed for the book, the last question I asked them was, if you could give one piece of advice to these readers who want to be known, what would it be? And almost every person used some form of the word consistency, tenacity, resilience. They all exhibited a certain amount of grit. And I know you and I have talked about it took time for you to build your audience, to build the brand that you have today. On average, the people in my book, it took them about 2.5 years to really get that brand to ignite. Now, the third idea, the third recommendation would be purpose. How do you stick with it for that long? When I was interviewing these people, I started hearing this theme. You know, I stay at it, even when I'm tired, even when I'm sick, because I know I'm having an impact on people. Being really clear about your purpose seems to be a key driver to people who make it to the next level. Sometimes you know that right away. Sometimes it kind of follows you when you start getting feedback from people saying, you know, I love what you're doing because it's inspired me, because now I'm able to help my children be more fit or help my parents be more fit. And you start to realize, wow, I am having an impact. I do have a purpose beyond just building a business. And that seems to be a point of differentiation that really gets people to the next level.
Mark, one of the things that jumped out at me in the book that I thought was really interesting, and I think that our listeners will appreciate that, is you gave an example about, I apologize because I can't remember her name, but about someone who had a passion for cooking and was trying to find a point of difference and trying to kind of narrow in. And my memory of this story was that she ended up on video, I think on YouTube, doing cooking classes dressed as famous movie scenes or something.
Characters from the movies, yeah.
So I bring that up because when I was listening to you talking about that story, I was thinking, wow, that is so unique. And you talk about how important it is to really find something that, you know, that is unique, that you can stand for. Can you explain that to us in a little bit more detail about the importance of that?
Well, it's critically important because the fitness industry is an example of an industry that's absolutely flooded with content, flooded with people who are creating content and they want to stand out. So the first part of the book has, I think, 8 different exercises to help you find a new way to stand out. And the woman that you mentioned, her name is Isadora Becker. She is a food blogger, video producer in Brazil, actually. And the reason I used her is because this is a great example of someone who combined another passion or another interest with food. So what are some of your values? What are some of the things that excite you, that drive you? What makes you come alive? Now, how do you combine that with fitness? How about fashion, for example? What if you really love fashion? Well, maybe that's an interesting niche. People that work out today, I mean, it's almost like red carpet worthy, right? I mean, people really wear beautiful things when they work out. Is anybody blogging about that, creating photos of that, creating a podcast about that? So that's an example where you combine some other passion. Maybe it's food, maybe it's spirituality with fitness. So that's just one idea, one example, one exercise to explore that I have in the book.
I found those exercises really, really useful, and I kind of wished at that point that I had the printed version of the book. Is there an online guide to those?
There's a workbook that goes with the book as well.
Right. Yeah.
For the people that do the audio version, you can just get the workbook that has the exercises and has some bonus content, bonus exercises in that. And if you fill out the workbook and you don't have to do all the exercises, but do some exercises from each section, you will have a plan. You will have a strategy to become known.
Now, there is one other thing I wanted to touch on. And on the show, we very frequently talk about the importance of identifying your niche. And we kind of just touched on this now, and we talk about the importance of becoming an expert. But in Known, you actually say you don't have to be an expert to succeed. Do you want to explain what you mean by that?
Well, one of the things when I give a talk, I'll give a talk about this, and I'll find maybe I'll go, let's say, to a fitness conference or something, and I'll try to find who are the most famous people in that industry, and I'll go and I'll try to find baby pictures. And I'll use that at the beginning of my talk, and I'll say, look at this lovely little girl. Isn't she cute? Isn't she adorable? And then I show the picture of them as a grown-up. I'll say, she wasn't born an expert. She wasn't born a nutrition expert or a fitness expert. And then maybe I'll show another one to make the point that everyone starts at zero. You don't have to be an expert. Part of establishing your personal brand is the journey, is sharing that journey and learning along the way. You don't have to be an expert, but you do have to be a continuous learner and an urgent learner and make progress week by week and year by year. When I started my blog, I've been blogging since 2009. I had no idea what I was doing. But you know what? I've written a book on blogging. It's one of the best-selling books on blogging in the whole world. But I didn't start as an expert, but I learned. And once I learned, I was able to share my insights, my human take on it, and eventually became an expert. But the most important thing is you need to start.
Thank you so much for sharing that advice, Mark. I've got one last question for you, and we finish off our show each week with Fitbispiration. And I'm hoping you can share with us your top 3 tips for fitness professionals to become known. Are you interested in increasing your centre's income and your trainer's income from small group training? Tribe Team Training is the new way to get more members engaged in small group training and paying extra. Click the Tribe Team Training link in the show notes or go to tribeteamtraining.com.au/podcast for your free formula to see how much income you can make from small group training.
Well, my wish and my hope is that people will have the courage to start. One of the things I hear, Chantal, a lot is that people might say, oh, it's all been said. What can I add? And, you have no competition. You have no competition. There's no one that's had your experience and has your perspective. And 10 years from now, we'll look back at 2017 and we'll think, oh, I wished I lived back then. There were so many opportunities. The internet was just beginning. The ideas and the people that are going to impact the fitness industry the most 10 years from now, they haven't started yet. It hasn't been invented yet. And so maybe it's your time. The second thing I would say is take a very clear-eyed assessment of where you are in your life right now. Is it the right time? How will you have the time to do this? I recommend for most professionals, really building a personal brand and creating the content to support it may take 5 hours a week. That's a lot of time. And I'm sure you can probably vouch for that as well. So think about the time commitment. Is this the right time for you? And you know what? If you're taking care of a sick parent or you're recovering from a financial problem or something, maybe a year from now is your time. The third thing is don't quit too soon. I heard this over and over again, and I've got exercises in the book. I've got a way to measure it, to look at little milestones, little progress that you make along the way so you know it's working. Because as I said, on average, it took 30 months for that personal brand to really ignite. So don't give up too soon. Consistency, persistence, I think, is more important than being an expert, than having that big idea. Just outlasting people, being reliable, building an audience that loves you is so important. It might be even important than being an expert in something. So hanging in there and consistency would be my third piece of advice.
Mark, it's funny, you just in that sentence said the word ignite. And of course, whenever I hear that word, John Lee Dumas pops into my head. And it reminded me that he did that cameo in your book,
Right.
which was quite funny because here I was listening to your voice and all of a sudden his voice came on. And if there is ever an example of someone who is committed and has been consistent in their delivery,
Right.
that man is that person, because being
That's
able
exactly right.
to push out a podcast 7 days a week is extraordinary. And just a reminder to all of our listeners, John Lee Dumas was actually on the show back in 2016, I think it was. So I'll dig out that show and put a link in our show notes. So Mark, thank you so much for joining us today. I said to you at the very beginning that interviewing authors is one of my absolute highlights, and you are no exception. It was just such a thrill to have you on the show. So if people want to get their hands on a copy of Known or any of your other previous books, they want to check out the podcast or your blog, where do they need to go?
Everything can be found at businessesgrow.com. And I hope your listeners do stay in touch with me. I'd love to hear from them. Check out my blog, my podcast, my books. All my books are available on Amazon, in paper, in Kindle, and most of them are also available on audio. And I'd love to hear from them. And thank you so much for having me on your amazing podcast. Congratulations on all your success. And thanks for your great questions today.
Mark, the pleasure is all ours. Thank you.
Get ready for this week's bonus segment, your extra injection of information, education, and inspiration to strengthen your fitness business.
I'm excited to welcome back to the show Steve Ayres, the Chief Revenue Officer at ABC Financial. Hey, Steve.
Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoy coming on.
It's awesome to have you back. So, I recently came to you with a new concept that we're launching called the Intensive Series, which is a standalone 4-part series that runs parallel to our normal weekly shows. And each podcast is presented like a 4-part course where we explore one key topic and provide listeners specific actions to implement. Now, you're joining us today because you've got a bit of an exciting announcement.
That's right, Chantel. As you know, ABC Financial, we're very passionate about supporting professional development initiatives for the fitness industry. And we're very thrilled to announce that we will be coming on board as the exclusive partner for the Intensive Series.
Thank you so much for your support, Steve. We are really, really excited. And I can actually tell you today that we have already confirmed 3 of the 4 presenters for the series. We've got the one and only Casey Conrad talking on sales. We've got Mike Michalowicz talking about finance and Paul Brown on retention.
Wow, those are really great guests, and I just can't wait to hear the first series in August.
Well, thank you once again to ABC Financial for coming on board as the exclusive partner for the series. And like you said, part 1 comes out in August, and it will be available to download on iTunes for free and also at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. So, Steve, thank you so much for coming on today and joining us to share that exciting news.
Thank you. We're so happy to partner with you guys. We appreciate it.
A huge thank you once again to Steve Ayres and all of the team at ABC Financial. Their support means that we can deliver you this series free of charge. Think of it like a 4-week course brought to you by industry experts. As Steve mentioned, Series 1 kicks off in August and it will be available on iTunes and on fitnessbusinesspodcast.com on August 4th, 11th, 18th and 25th. Each show is 15 minutes of audio content, plus you can download a full transcription of each week's interview from fitnessbusinesspodcast.com.
Introducing In the Trenches, our newest segment where we chat to owners, managers, and staff across the globe who are doing seriously cool stuff in their businesses.
Today's guest is Louise May. She's a membership consultant from Body Care Health Club in Albany, WA. Welcome along to the show, Louise.
Hi, how are you going?
Really good, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Do you want to start by just giving us a bit of an overview about Body Care Health Club?
Yeah, sure. So Body Care Health Club, as you said, it's based in Albany, Western Australia. They've been established since 1995 and the current management has been looking after it since 2004. Body Care Health Club is a 3-times winner of the Fitness Australia Gold Quality Award. So that's a really massive achievement for us and we really pride ourselves on maintaining that level throughout all our years. We've got around 1,400 members across the gym and it includes our group fitness, personal training, CrossFit and our Squat FX small group training. And of those members, about 70% of them actually are involved in one of those extra activities as well as coming and using the gym. So everyone's kind of going over and above and using heaps of different areas of our gym, which is really cool.
That's excellent, Louise. Now, we wanted to get you on today because we spotted on Facebook a very cool 14-day video promotion that you guys ran recently. So do you want to maybe talk us through and give us a bit of an overview about that video promo?
Yeah, sure. So what we did is we launched our gym as 24/7 at the start of this year. We started it about 2 weeks into the year. So we thought, what a great time to lead up to it and kind of give it a big launch with doing 14 days of giveaways. I'd seen some promotions with other local businesses, not gym businesses, but like electrical businesses. And we kind of thought, how can we make this work for us and kind of get the community engaged in getting around our competitions and also giving them something a bit exciting to look forward to in the lead up to going 24/7.
Now, one of the things that I noticed as I was flicking through the campaign is just how much engagement you generated in the comments section of this promotion. So do you want to give us a few examples of some of the giveaways that you did, some of the call to actions that you used in that series that actually prompted people to leave a comment?
Yeah, so what we did is we launched it as liking the post, sharing it and tagging 2 friends in the comment section in order to be eligible to win. So we engaged a heap of people that way. I guess the way it worked is they tagged their friends saw it, and then their friends went and tagged again. So we had some really huge engagement across the whole fortnight of doing it, and we tried to vary the prizes as, you know, things that we have in the gym and then kind of more casual things like Lorna Jane vouchers and stuff like that. So yeah, it was really good seeing the engagement. We got kind of an average of over 1,000 page engagements a day.
So, Louise, do you want to tell us what sort of results did you see from the 14-day promo?
Yeah, so we had some really great results. Obviously, our online followers went up, but we also saw a bit of an increase in walk-in clients who were coming in, had seen the videos online, found out that we were going 24/7, which was a really big draw card for them. And they, came in to check out the gym and kind of mentioned that they'd seen the Facebook advertisement. So that was a really good result. Just overall community interaction was really good. There was heaps of chatter about it in the gym, out in the community as well.
And I noticed that with the videos, it looked like you got a whole lot of different staff members involved. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, absolutely. We have got a lot of different staff members. I tried to incorporate people from group fitness, personal trainers, CrossFit trainers, receptionists, just the faces that, people will see every day around the gym if they're coming in and joining. So it just made it a bit more relatable for people. They weren't seeing some random face that they've never seen before. These people have all got a fairly established place at Body Care, and we're so lucky that we've got just such a great, friendly staff community. It's really nice. So it was really fun to film them and get a little snippet of their personality and put it out there for the community to see as well.
Now, Louise, was this a high-cost campaign from a production point of view, or were you able to do all of it internally? Because I noticed that each of the videos starts off with a bit of a music intro and stuff like that. Was that something that you were able to do internally?
Yeah, so I'm fortunate enough to be pretty handy with a computer and a video camera. We had asked another company that we'd seen do a very similar promotion. They actually spent a huge budget on it. And we just thought, wow, that's absolutely massive. And then on top of that, we're obviously giving away a lot of stuff as well. So we thought, how can we kind of make it our own but kind of keep within a really, really reasonable budget? And we did that just by, we got on our hands on some decent quality digital cameras, and then I did all of the video editing myself. So it just, cost was basically my time and the things that we gave away. So it was really as low cost as I think it possibly could be.
That's great. So based on your experience of doing this campaign, is there anything that you would do differently next time you ran it?
So I think next time what we would do is we would have a little bit more of a build-up to the competition so that people were ready and waiting for the competition to pop up on the first day. I think that would increase the overall engagement, and also it's another bit of like really low cost advertising in the lead up to the 14 days of giveaway. So it'd probably just give it a bit more of a ramp up next time. But I really think the prizes we were really happy with the prizes. We were really happy with the engagement, and for the cost of it, I think we really got what we wanted out of it.
So if there's any other gym owners or managers out there listening thinking this sounds like a promotion that I'd love to have a go of, perhaps give it a try in their own facility, what advice would you give to them?
I would say be prepared, have a play with your video editing program or find a staff member who can do it for you. It really helps keep the cost down, and basically just try and get as much of your gym staff to help you promote it online. I think that really helped. A lot of our staff shared and liked our posts, so it immediately went out to all of their friends. So get your gym involved in it, get them telling their friends, telling their clients, and just get a bit of a vibe behind it, because I think that it's a really fun thing to do, to give things away for 14 days. But just make sure that you're prepared with your videos ready to go so that it's not too stressful when the 14 days or however many days you want to do of giveaways does come around.
That is great advice. Louise, thank you so much for coming on today and talking to us all about your 14-day Facebook video promotion. And I'm going to make sure that we put a link in today's show notes. So if anyone wants to go on and check that out and have a look at the videos that you made, and I really encourage you to do that, then you can just jump over to the show notes at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com and have a look at those videos that we've been talking about today. So thank you so much, Louise, for coming on the show.
Yeah, my absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Pre-Core Quickfire 5.
Daniel Neary is an entrepreneur with one goal: to revolutionise the fitness industry. And in just a few years, he has already begun to make an impact. Daniel's business has been featured in top-rated publications, including Entrepreneur Magazine, Tampa Bay Times, and Business Observer, as well as on TV with The Doctors and in fitness industry publications like Men's Journal. Daniel, a really warm welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
As you know, we like to start our questions with the Pre-Core Quickfire 5. So can you tell everyone, why is it that you do what you do?
Thank you for asking that. And the reason is because every 90 seconds, one person dies from obesity, and I lost my grandparents to it. So I decided that I do not want to see another grandson to feel the loss that I did. And on top of that, I hated how in the US that most of the gyms hold their client accountable with contracts and not with the results. So I did not see myself fit into that. So I just went in and created my own values and goals and created my own business.
And can you tell us, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
The favorite one is never stop learning. And then my absolute favorite that I tell myself every single day is that the only person you are destined to become is the person that you decide to be.
Oh, I like that one. And what's a personal habit that helps you become better at what you do?
It might sound crazy, but every day I get up at 4:45 a.m. in the morning and read for 2 hours before my day starts. And that allows me to read 8 books per month, no matter what. And I actually die for this. So if I don't do my reading, it's almost like working out for you, I'm sure, and so many people, to myself. If I don't go to the gym, I feel, I freaking out if I missed for a whole week. Well, same with the reading. If I don't read every single day, then I'm freaking out. But anyway, so yes. So I do that, read for 2 hours. And then on Sundays, actually, I stop eating at 8, 9 p.m. And I won't eat again until Tuesday at 12 p.m. So this way, after the weekend, I can actually get ahead of the competition. And also I can just laser focus on all the tasks and things that I have to get done on Monday. And this way I do not slow down. I just work 16 to 18 hours and get everything done that I need to. Not training clients, talking about business stuff. That's all I do all day. But this allows me to be just 100% laser focused. And by the way, so many people have been doing this. So I just read lots of books and I find out that fasting is what, for example, Albert Einstein, Aristotle, and so many other people used in the past.
Well, you know what? I read that about you, that you do this fasting, and I don't think I could do it, but I admire that you can. And I know that you have had results of being more efficient in your working by doing that. So now that we've talked about how much you actually read, tell us, what's one book, podcast or blog that you would recommend and why?
You mean besides this one?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you're allowed to say your own book, by the way.
I wouldn't say, it's all good. I have lots of favorites. If you see my office or my house or anybody comes over, they look around and they're like, what the hell is going on here? They think it's a library just because I have so many books. But I keep it short. So my favorite podcast besides yours is Mike's, the GSD show.
Yeah, awesome, Mike.
I think, yeah, exactly. And I love him. We work together in the advertising and everything, basically. And we plan to get some other things together too. But anyways, for gym owners, it's a must watch, listen. It's on any platform that you can imagine. So you cannot miss out on that. It's just amazing information. But favorite book that you should read if you not into reading, but really want to be the best in the industry. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's called KPI, which is the Key Persons of Influence. And it's a book that you must read because it really outlines the importance of how you should become the key person of influence of your industry. Even if it's just in your little zone, your area, you should own that little area. And that's my number one recommendation. And of course, the classic E-Myth. I don't know if you heard of that one, but E-Myth will let you work on your business instead of in your business.
Well, E-Myth actually comes up quite frequently as one of our most recommended books, so thank you for that. And KPI I hadn't heard of before, so I'll make sure that we grab the link and put that in today's show notes. And I have to mention, we've had the wonderful Mike RC on the show, not once, but twice before, so we're huge fans of Mike's also, so glad to hear that as a recommendation. Guys, my interview with Daniel cut out just as he was answering the last question, so I'm going to answer it for him. Next week, Daniel is going to chat to us about some considerations of opening your first fitness studio, and given what an avid reader he is, I also asked him to share some of his most recommended books for fitness professionals. Thank you to all of you for including the Fitness Business Podcast as a part of your weekly professional development. I'd love you to share the show with your team. Just send them to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. And don't forget, all of the resources, links, and transcripts for today's show can also be found at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. Thanks so much to all of our partners for their support and our foundation partner, Active Management. Go to www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/active for a free business development ebook. That is it for this week. I'll see you next week. And remember, what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.